Hi guys, welcome to Q&A with Coach Rebecca. I am here for our weekly talk on all things sports psychology and mental toughness training for young athletes. I'm Rebecca Smith. I'm the founder and director of Complete Performance Coaching, a group of highly skilled sports psychology experts who specialize in working with athletes age 8 to 18 on overcoming fear, building confidence, and developing the mental edge that will get you far and above your competitors in sport. And we do this in two ways: through one-on-one coaching, through FaceTime or Skype, or through the online do-it-yourself mental toughness training community, the Perform Happy community. So hopefully you'll join us there. You can find out more about that at performhappy.com. Okay, our question of the day comes from one of the members. And she says, I reached out to the Facebook group and said, how's back to school going? And of course, plenty of people are going, the stress of going back to school on top of going back to sports is already starting to weigh on these kids, even the kids who don't compete until the winter in this kid's example. So here's her question. She says, we start classes next week, but I'm already starting to see signs of school anxiety. Plus, I'm starting to hear fears about not getting next level skills in time for a competition season this year, even though we don't start until December. She's worried she'll have to repeat and does not want to. Okay, so last week we talked about your mindset and getting mentally tough for competition by focusing on your mindset as far as getting excited instead of getting nervous and focusing on the challenge instead of the pressure. So that was a couple of quick ways that you can get yourself ready for competition, or at least address the oncoming anxiety, even though you're not even there yet. But today we're gonna talk more about the bad habit of negative thinking, because that's essentially the problem here. Is that she starts to go, what if, and those negative thoughts start to come up, which then makes the body start to react in a certain way that actually reduces your ability to get those skills and to train well. So I'm going to give you guys a little crash course on how to break the habit of negative thinking. Okay, so think about, what is your negative thought that comes to you often? Some of you guys are like, I don't know if I have one. I always ask in big group settings, think of your common negative thought, that one negative thought that comes to you more often than any other thought all day long. I imagine you can come up with something, or what is it that when you're laying in bed, what are you worrying about? What are you thinking about? And that, just start to think about it a little bit. I feel it in my throat. I feel it in my chest. I start to kind of tense up just thinking about that thought. Not even necessarily having anything going wrong or anything changed in this moment other than, I just switched my focus to something negative, something that scares me, something that I'm worried about. And that's all you have to do to get your body reacting. So what we need to do to break a habit is first know that we have this habit, then figure out a way to catch ourselves in the act, and then start to replace it. So I was thinking about, I used to be a nail biter. I had the worst, the lowest nails. I was such a little stressor, and I would just chew my nails all the time at the gym. Driving home from practice, I would just chew my nails, and it was disgusting. And my mom was like, ew, stop doing that, stop doing that. And wouldn't it be nice if stop doing that was enough to make a habit break? Okay, it's not, right? Stop doing that bad thing. Oh, great, I'll stop. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay, but then I catch myself with my fingers in my mouth again. So first you have to realize that you have the issue. So of course my mom is letting me know I have the issue. My teachers, get your hands out of your mouth. They're letting me know that the issue is present. And then, that yucky tasting nail polish? So that was the next step. I put on the yucky tasting nail polish, and every time my fingers would go in my mouth, I go, ew. And I'd have a negative reaction, which is something that helps to get the brain making a new connection or a new path, is if your brain's like, ew, that wasn't cool. And then what I also started doing was carrying a nail file with me, because what used to get me was like these little hangups on my nails, and I would be like, oh, it's going to bother me. I have to get it off. So instead, I would file it. And so I think maybe just a couple of weeks of the yucky tasting polish, which let me know that the habit was there, and then the nail file, which was the new solution, and I am no longer a nail biter. So that's kind of the model for how we're going to break the habit of negative thinking. First, you have to realize it's an issue, which, let me tell you, I'll give you an insider tip. If you're human, you have negative thinking. It's our job to focus on our flaws. It's something that we have to do to stay alive from an evolutionary standpoint. So it's okay. Don't worry. We all think negatively, but the people who are more successful in life and happier are the ones who can catch it and then do something different instead. All right. So here are some ideas of kind of what negative thinking you want to be looking for, and then how we can catch it in the act. So there's 4 main types of negative thinking that are going to create the anxiety snowball effect. Number 1 is worry. That's that. What if? What could go wrong? And what happens is you have this thought, what if? What if I go bankrupt? What if I go broke? And then your brain goes into the, oh my gosh, my kids won't have rooms and we won't be able to drive cars anywhere. And it's like you create this whole scenario in your head that isn't real, but your brain sees it happening, and then your body starts to react as if it is really happening. So if your thought is, what if I fall off the beam? What do you think about falling off the beam? And then your body gets tense. You're not able to do your skills in this nice, fluid, trained way. You're kind of choppy and stiff and jumpy and jittery. And then guess what happens? You fall off the beam. So that's that. What if ... That's one thought process you want to totally eliminate, at least start cutting back on, because that's unless you're thinking, what if this goes awesome? What if I rise to the occasion? That's the kind of what if we want to use. Okay, the next negative thought that we want to break the habit of is the victim mentality. That's that, oh, this always happens to me, or it's not fair. Basically, those 2 types of thoughts. It's not fair that she's better than me. It's not fair that I didn't get to go first. It's not fair that I had to go first. It's not fair, or why do I always hurt myself? Why does this always happen to me? Why do my coaches always pick on me? Okay, whatever that is, what's going on when you're thinking that way is you're pointing the finger out and you're going, it's their fault, it's their fault, it's their fault. If she wasn't so good, I would have won. If he wasn't so mean to me, I would have done great. Okay, but the problem with that is that if you give your power to the other people, then you have no control. Then you're like, well, it's not really up to me or my effort. It's just, who do I show up and compete against? That's what really matters. And if you give all the power to other people, then your effort isn't going to be where it needs to be. And you're not going to be focused on the right things that you need to focus on to make sure that you're actually, putting in the work that will get you to where you want to be results-wise. So if you can instead go, what can I do? All right, I got injured. What can I do? Or how can I prevent it? Or how can I talk to this coach who's being mean? Focusing on the solution instead of the problem and not playing the victim is really important. But again, it's a habit. It's something that we do without thinking. Okay, the third one is perfectionism. So if you find yourself using words like should, like, oh, I should have made this, or I should win this. I should have. Anything should, that's perfectionism, and it's not supporting you. It's something that can get the worry and the anxiety in. Like, okay, I'm supposed to win. I should win. And then the next one is self-criticism. This is the 4th of the 4 types of negative thinking that we really want to break. Self-criticism, it's basically focusing on your flaws. Now, who here steps in front of a mirror and looks at, oh, wow, that looks nice? Or do you immediately zero in on, I don't like that part. I don't like that part of me. I don't like that part of me. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but it's a bad habit that I've been working on breaking for a long time. And having come from a sport where I'm supposed to wear a leotard, those of you who are swimmers or figure skaters or gymnasts, of course, you feel like your body is just out there being picked on. So if you're picking on yourself physically, mentally, athletically, then you're putting out those thoughts that, again, drain your energy and really take your power and your confidence away. Okay, so if you have any of those thoughts, we want to be able to break that pattern of continually going to those thoughts and bringing you down. And that's what brings on a lot of the anxiety is, feeling like, oh, I don't have any control. This always happens to me. I'm a victim. I'm not perfect, but I should be. Any of those things build and just really take your power away. All right, so how do we break it? The first thing is we have to know it's there. So hopefully, as I've been explaining these, you've been kind of thinking back to times and thoughts and things that you often have crossing your mind. And now, how do we start to catch it? So there are a couple of cool ways you can do it. The first way that I ever did it was I was recommended to put a rubber band on my wrist and then snap it every time I caught myself thinking a negative thought. And so I don't necessarily recommend this. Let me tell you why. When I did it, I was like, ooh, I'm going to punish myself for thinking these bad thoughts. And I'd snap it kind of hard. Like, oh, bad thought, bad thinker, bad. And okay, is that actually improving the problem? No, it's just giving me another outlet for criticizing myself or punishing myself. So that's not the point. So if you want to try something like that, please be so nice to yourself and just give it like a little, even a little touch, like, oh yeah, that was a negative thought. Like you're just checking in and being aware. Another one that I've heard of is putting a bunch of paper clips in your pocket, let's say your left pocket at the beginning of the day, and then every time you think something negative and you catch it, you take a paper clip out and you put it in your other pocket. So that then you can kind of like watch the flow of negativity crossing your body all day long. You'll probably run out of paper clips pretty soon. And now the way that I really like to use, actually I'll give you one more idea. I've also heard a study where every time you hear a negative thought or in your head, you jump. So you actually like jump up and down. And it kind of connects the physical to the mental. So anyway, here's what I recommend that you do is start writing them down. And now everybody probably, for the most part, has a phone or some kind of device that you can type a little note in throughout the day, casually, without, much extra effort. Anytime you notice a thought that's negative, you just jot it down. Now, you don't have to write it word for word or obsess about that. It's just, just a little note about what it was. And you write it down, and you write it down, and you write it down, and you spend a week trying to catch as many negative thoughts as you can. And then at the end of that week, you will have a pretty good idea of your pattern. Now, of course, if you are in the middle of practice, you might not be able to actually pull your phone out and write down your negative thoughts. So I have a template that you can download that helps you kind of structure how to remember your negatives throughout the day, the thoughts and the feelings, and then also reflect on your practice. And you can download that for free at CompletePerformanceCoaching.com/MTL for mental toughness log. So grab one of those, print it out, fill it out for a week. And then you can also write on the back of it. You can use your phone. I don't really care how you do it, but track your thoughts for a week and start to notice your patterns. And then it's going to be time to start replacing those with something else. That's, the nail file. You're going to start doing something different than the negative thoughts. And I have a whole training on this in the Perform Happy community called Neutralizing Negativity. So those of you members who haven't checked that out yet, please do. And it talks about how to turn those thoughts from negative to positive, but instead of just going like, everything's great, which your brain isn't necessarily going to believe right away, we talk about the logical way of starting to just talk some sense into your thinking and going, is that actually real? Is that a fact? Maybe not. Okay, what is true? What can we get behind that's neutral or at least, sort of positive or at least not negative? So check that out. If you're not already a member of the Perform Happy community, please join us as soon as you can. We have a whole bunch of amazing families and athletes of all kinds. It's not just for gymnasts. It's for athletes age 8 to 18 of all sports who want to improve confidence. And for those of you who have more questions, please come on down, send me an email, Rebecca@performhappy.com, and I will see you again next week. Thanks for joining me.